Alrighty, guys. Today we've got two more sessions to catch up on. Meditas the 19th. I believe this is session number 7. This session we pick up with a festival. I decided something I've been missing that I'm going to start incorporating more of is events that are taking place during just in the town. I think I'm going to use the Kingmaker has like some random events that could happen in your town. I think I'm going to use those, and this should help just like set the stage, give something for the players to like play off of just in this like intro event. Like whatever the local environmental town event is, whatever the player's intro scene is, will have something to do with that. At least that's what I've got in mind. So this week, the Feast of Concord. This is a celebration of two of the gods in my world, Igol, the like local phoenix god of this region, and Amar, the main human god of the multiple kingdoms that are that Igolia is one of. This holiday celebrates the unity, I should specify, of like these two entities, and it's sort of like them starting to work together, and because generally there's a lot of other like local gods that don't get along so well with Amar. Okay, so this session in particular, or this festival, we pick up with a joust to kick off this. I'm going to make it like a week-long festival we got going on. So this joust, we got Sir Godefroy, which the players had previously met and went on a mission with to the 8th Den of Dicharak. He jousted against Sir Bohemond, Sir Godefroy being a knight of Igolia, or Igol, Sir Bohemond being a knight of Amar. They joust. Sir Godefroy is grievously wounded. He's knocked from his horse, dehorsed, if you will, and he's like coughing up blood. He's like near death. I sort of set that up as a possibility for one of the players to try to like provide medical assistance or something. Otherwise, just to have them need to come up with a different ally if they wanted to go back to the 8th Den of Ditrak in this session, which is what I had planned. So we pick up Humdu, my monk friend character. He has this in his backstory, this black dragon named Zindarak, and he's finding out from the elder Ugana of the town that dragon has a relation to one of the evil local gods, Ditcharak. Nipsey, the gnome ranger, Bremril, the dark elf rogue, are getting drunk at the Cat and Fiddle. I guess they've sort of established a little bit of a character thing that they're both alcoholics and they like spending a lot of free time just sitting around drinking. Adrian, I believe, gambled, something along those lines. But anyways, something I missed of that was actually very important. So they find out. Oh, right. Okay, so Adrian, he finds out. So he's got this thing going on where he's trying to find this item called the Orison Oriflame. His wife is an elf archaeologist that is looking for this ancient lost elf relic. The town crier announces to the festival that the Duke of the city, not of the town that they're currently in, Torzon-Savoy, the town they're currently in, Borzou, he will give the barony of Torzon-Savoy to whoever returns this Orison Oriflame to the basilica in the city. Torzon-Savoy, Cletus and Adrian had found out, or they had accidentally partook in the Baron's death. They failed to save him as they were traveling with him. So now the barony needs a ruler, and this is the Duke's attempt at finding one. I guess he didn't have any heirs or something. And okay, so in the festival itself, effigy, they have this like great huge effigy they're gonna burn of the evil god, and so they do some cluing and sleuthing, and they discover that it was stolen and taken to the 8th Den of Ditcharak. This is a dungeon they had already gone to, but they never like burned it out. They never destroyed it. They never sent any guards to go, take it over or anything. So it is just like an empty dungeon and presumably, if nothing else happens, then an empty dungeon will just get repopulated by the next series of monsters that come over and decide to make it into their new home. So they go in. Some cultists are there. They fight a good deal of cultists. They get pretty tortury to try to get information out of these cultists. And these characters might be a little more evil than I had initially thought, but that's fine. That's whatever. It's I don't know if the torture necessarily works, but it just gets them to say, or at least the classic problem with torture is torture just gets the torturee just to say whatever they think will make the torture stop, not necessarily get the truth out of them. Especially because the big question they were asking was, where is the effigy being hidden when they were already at that location. So I guess whatever. I think they were more just using it as an excuse to rip people's fingers off or whatever, drive blades into their wounds and twist them and whatnot. Slightly psychotic, maybe slightly concerning for the psychology of my actual players, but whatever. So Adrian, he gets his nose broken by the next series of cultists they encounter in this dungeon. Broken nose being one of my lingering injury possibilities when you get reduced to 0 hit points. And then Adrian had to leave the player had to leave the table for other reasons. And okay, so yeah, they go through the dungeon and they're just they clear it out relatively handily. They get to the last guy, Synapsid. He is like this cult shaman. He's wearing this like shell of a flail snail, so he's got this sort of like magic resistance shell, but no one's really casting any magic against him anyways. And he's got like a snake charmer sort of deal. He's like got this like flute that he plays that causes like swarms of snakes to jump out and start attacking. And he's got this staff, like a staff to snake type magic thing he's got going on, sort of Moses deal. So they kill him. They take his staff and they question it, which is pretty funny. They because I guess the ranger has he's a gnome and he's got the ability to talk to animals. So he like talks to this staff for a while and they decide to keep it. The staff is pretty evil and worships the god Ditcherak. So I'm sure something fun will happen with that at some point. The staff will escape and cause some pandemonium to some degree. And on the way out, they found an owl bear in the cave that the ranger decides to talk to, and they like become friends with the owl bear, feed it the corpses of all the cultists that were hanging out or that are now dead in the dungeon. And the owl bear the ranger manages to get an egg from the owl bear, this mother that was protecting its nest, and the owl bear is going to become the ranger's animal companion, which we'll see how that goes. I assume at first when it's just a cub, like it'll make sense for it to not be super strong, and then by the time the ranger actually levels up, becomes strong enough to the point that it could probably have something closer to an actual owl bear as a companion. We'll see. I have a feeling it'll all balance out at the end, though. So they get the effigy, and they return it to the festival, and everyone loves them. Now, something I had in my like session formula that I think I'm definitely going to have to adjust is, so far I've really been cutting it close just in the dungeon exploration time, and by the time they actually get out of the dungeon and get back to the town, everything needs to get like wrapped up in like 5 to 10 minutes, whereas I had originally assigned like 30 plus minutes to the whole denouement and the whole get back to town and the like resolution part of the session. So I'm not sure whether or not I should just adjust my entire formula to just entirely shrink down on ending time and just reduce that all to just a couple of scant few minutes, or whether or not I should try to just adjust how I'm actually running my sessions to leave a little bit more time for resolution and coming back to town. Because I do, like, it does feel a little rushed at the end. It feels like they can't really bask in the glory of their victory. Something else I almost forgot to mark down. In the town, Stonebeards come out. So the party, while they're in the town, they're having their whole festival, having a good time. A group of, like a squad, a regiment of Stonebeards related to Marquide, they come into the town and they start causing a havoc. They start ripping pie stalls down and attacking grandmas. They're just causing, chaos. They're screaming and hollering about how their cousin Marquide was killed. They found a bolt that was apparently fletchered in this town. They have reason to believe that someone in this town is responsible. They refuse to leave until the crime is paid for. Adrian goes to the black market. He talks to a fence or some other criminal contact type, and he gets a black a forged document that gives the Stonebeards reason to suspect that Marquide was interfering with the business of the Fair Merchants Club of Igolia, so that the Fair Merchants Club had hired someone to assassinate Marquide. So now in the future, I've decided there's going to be some sort of war between the Stonebeards and Fair Merchants Club. And I think at some point, mayhaps the Stonebeards will discover, whether through magic or other diplomatic means, they will discover that this was a forged document. And then, I don't know whether or not I'm going to go down that line because I'm not exactly sure where I would go with that. But I think it's another element of drama I can spice up a session with if I can't think of anything else. And okay, so they return the effigy. It's all nice and dandy, and they are rewarded with a magic item from the town, the Quiver of Endless Celebration. It is infinite arrow quiver, and basically you can hit someone and hit someone with an arrow and cause it to cast Otto's irresistible dance on whoever you hit. That's its ability. So that might be very, very OP, because I didn't realize Otto's irresistible dance is a 6th level spell. But it I have it work more mechanically, akin to Tasha's hideous laughter. So I don't think it'll be that bad. But yeah, that's the whole session wrapped up. Next session. These were just back-to-back days. So I didn't really have much time to prepare anything unique or special for the next session. I basically just ran a dungeon called, I believe it's called the Quintessential Dungeon. It's a 1-page dungeon that just has all the general stuff, all the tropes of D&D. It's got a gelatinous cube, and it's got a mimic, and it's got a dragon. It's got it's got every single, quintessential D&D dungeon thing. Okay, so they get in there. Darf, Cletus, Humdu. All right, so Humdu is recovering. Okay, so something I had changed in my pit fighting rules, because a whole lot of people were choosing pit fighting as their downtime activity. I've split it up into 3 different forms of pit fighting. So you can go to the arena and partake in some gladiatorial combat. You can go to a noble's villa and partake in some honor duels, or you can go to a tavern and fight in cage matches. So Darf, he does some pit fighting, and he does insane. He rolls very well on all of his checks. Cletus, he attempts some crime. He gets away, but he doesn't get caught, so he just loses some gold. and they go to the Green Griffin, which is a coaching inn that has been abandoned, and there's some ancient evil that had worked alongside, like centuries and centuries ago, this evil figure, the tyrant of the humans, a vaguely Sauron-y type of ancient evil, if I had to give the elevator pitch of what his deal is. So they go there. There's an ancient outpost, an ancient dungeon that has been built beneath this, or that has been built and like into the earth, into the ground. And then, centuries later, this coaching inn was built on top of it. So they come across, so I warn them that this dungeon is going to be quite tough, so that they should consider getting some friends alongside them. So they bring Sir Bohemond. They talk to him, become friends with him, and then convince him to come along with them. They bring Thibault the Magnificent, a wizard who I had decided is now Sporden's the elf wizard. He is another character in the campaign. Decided that Thibault is his mentor, and Thibault, I believe, I used like a French name generator. I believe it was supposed to be like Thibault or Thibault, something along those lines. I think I might have misread it and added an L, but whatever. And then they rescued a halfling halfway through the dungeon named Flingo, a halfling rogue. So I decided that in the future that these three, I think I'm going to have them form their own adventuring party. And they're going to become like a rival party that I'm plan on hopefully having like the party try to, or like I'll have this rival party like undercut them. So like when a quest is offered for like 1,000 gold, this rival party will say, oh, well, we'll do it for 800. Or maybe they'll go forth to do a quest that they've heard about, only to find out that this rival party has already completed it. But I do think I need a fourth. I think I need some sort of priest or some sort of healer cleric type to add to this rival party. But the players actually get through the dungeon relatively well. There is like a big dragon at the end of the dungeon that nearly leads to a horrible catastrophe where everyone ends up dying, but they manage to avoid doing that. And they find an item, the Deck of Many Things. This is the first time I had ever played with the Deck of Many Things, the first time I'd ever given it to a party. I was just, it seems like for a West Marches campaign, something where I don't already have any sort of plot in mind. This just seems like a plot generator. Like Deck of Many Things seems absolutely perfect for this kind of campaign. So I had to throw it in there. Darf draws a card, and he draws the Wheel of Fortune. I should say I have a custom Deck of Many Things because, players already know what the standard Deck of Many Things is, so I changed up some things. And Wheel of Fortune just completely shuffles all your stats around. And originally, I just thought, like, Jesus, like, this is just a rough card to get because you're still a barbarian, but you just now have 6 strength and 18 con. Like, good luck with that. Your character is now effectively unplayable. But at the last moment, when he drew the card, I figured, like, that probably would not be much fun. So I let him change his class, especially because very conveniently, he had said beforehand that, like, well, if I draw a card and I die, my next character I'm going to make is going to be a wizard. So the fact that he drew this card, shuffled his stats, and got a super high int and super low strength was kind of perfect. And, just again, don't be afraid of random elements of D&D. That's my lesson for the day. Always just, like they just play with them, go along with the flow. So So yeah, we're gonna have a wizard in the party now, and not just a backup character wizard that was played once and then never again. Got a full real wizard. I hope there's some fun character development we can have with Darth and his family, and he's gone from a near imbecile of a like an unintelligent character to a like I don't know if I want to say like hyper intelligent, but just extremely intelligent wizard character. So, yep, that's all I've got for this session, or these two sessions. I will catch you guys next time.